Alright, this is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com, and today doing an episode on greenhouses. So I was at a friend's house yesterday or the other day, and he was talking, John, why should I get a greenhouse? So I want to share my ideas on why you should get a greenhouse and show you my greenhouse. So this greenhouse here is a small 6x8 greenhouse. It was actually purchased at a store called Harbor Freight Tool, and let's see, they have actually, they're probably the best place to buy a greenhouse. You can do harborfreight.com. And if you are buying a greenhouse, I recommend buying the largest one you can that'll fit in your space. So, you know, I bought a 10x12 that we will be building soon, and you'll see that episode coming up shortly. But for now, I have a 6x8. And as you can see, I have plants everywhere, and it is just too dang small. So, why have a greenhouse? Well, there's a couple reasons. Number one is for germination. So when you're starting seeds, there's an optimal temperature range that seeds like to start in. So this happens because in nature, you know, when plants make seeds, they'll maybe fall in the winter time and they'll stay dormant all winter. But when the temperature warms up just right and the conditions are right, the seed will sprout and make a new plant. So in the greenhouse, because it is enclosed, you can control the temperature much more effectively than you can, you know, outside. And you could also, you know, if you're not growing a lot of stuff, you could also, you know, make a little mini greenhouse in your house or something. But, you know, if you're really serious and you want to grow a serious amount of food, you should really purchase a greenhouse. So you can see here I have many different things starting from red Aztec spinach. I think there's some magenta lamb's quarters here, some cilantro in the back. This one's red oric. All kinds of cool things. I don't even know what this guy is. Anyways, kale. This is one called Kang Kong. It's actually an Asian green. A lot of things growing in here are really kind of unique things that you can't really easily find to purchase. So anyways, yeah, so by the greenhouse, you could start your seeds. So that's number one. So as you can see, I have many flats here labeled. This is some mache or corn salad that got planted, which probably is not quite the ultimate summer crop here. Sea kale. Yeah, all kinds of different starts growing here. Actually, this is some Jerusalem artichokes that I started. Actually, I didn't even buy the seeds for that. I bought the tubers. And actually forgot about eating them in the fridge, and then took them out and actually planted them, and they're coming up. They're related to the sunflower family, and they make actually really a delicious, you know, low starch tuber that can be eaten raw. It's really delicious. Over here we have Malabar spinach. So Malabar spinach is a green, an Asian green, that you could eat, just pick the leaves off of. So you basically just come over here and you want to pick a leaf off. And if you know what purslane is, it has a, you know, a texture like purslane, so it's like a kind of mucilaginous. Really good green. You can't usually find this to buy anywhere in the farmers markets. But yeah, so starting seeds, you know, number one, controlling the environment. So you control the temperature in here. So on a hot day, here in the summertime, it's been getting, you know, touching almost 100 degrees in the 90s. So it's been getting too hot inside my greenhouse. So actually, you could get a shade cloth, which probably costs a lot more money than a blue tarp. So I put a blue tarp up to shade the plants, because otherwise it would just get way too hot. You can see I have some actually, it's a misting system up here. Let me go ahead and turn that on. So I have a drip system in here, and there's drip that runs around the edge, the perimeter, and we don't have it set up on every plant because we're about to take this down. But you see in here I have some misters. And they're making, you can kind of hear it, they're kind of making a nice fine spray in the plants. And you don't want to necessarily water in the middle of the day because it's not good for the plants, but I just want to show you the misting system. And so in the greenhouse here, actually I popped up a spigot. You know, I popped it up right here so we have it's easy to water in here. So let me go ahead and turn the misters off. So yeah, controlling the environment, starting your seeds, because they're going to germinate much more effectively. The other thing is controlling bugs. So because hopefully your greenhouse is an enclosed environment like your house, you know, there may be a lot of spiders and bugs and things outside your house, but inside your house you really don't get that many bugs. So the same thing holds true with a greenhouse. Inside your greenhouse, since it's a controlled environment, you know, you're not going to get all the problems with bugs and pests and stuff. So like, for example, a snail could wipe out, like, you know, if you had this outside, a snail could get in and, you know, literally wipe out flats of stuff. Or like, you know, if a bird got in and, you know, you're starting your seeds outside and a bird was in there, the bird will just come and eat the seeds, because that's what birds do. So inside the greenhouse, it's a controlled environment where, you know, you won't have any problems with pests, or very minimal, or they'll be able to be controlled easier. So actually you can see I put actually a sticky tape trap up over there, which has actually caught a lot of pests and bugs and things, but also I guess it probably dropped on the ground a couple times too and caught some dirt. The other thing we have in here is actually a thermostatically controlled fan. So actually I have it set up here. You can maybe see that on the top. It's actually set to come on at, you know, at anything hotter than 81 degrees, it's going to turn on and keep running until it gets the temperature down. So you can see it's currently 91 degrees right there, and it wants to get the temperature down to 81. So it's going to work and stay on all day until it gets down there, which might be not until the evening, but it's going to at least stay on and keep the temperature, not let it rise any hotter than it is. And this is actually just a window fan that luckily enough fits right into the greenhouse opening. Optimally, actually I already have it, just haven't installed it. I have a solar fan that actually runs on the sun, so it would come on when it's hot outside and then not work when the sun's not out, or not, you know, not shining. So we have yeah, you want to keep the temperature controlled, so controlling bugs and pests, starting your seeds. The other thing is extending your growing season. So luckily I'm here in California, and my growing season is quite long. Actually, it never ends for some crops. So things like kale and, you know, lettuces and things I could grow year round. Of course, I can't grow tomatoes year round, and here's a little tomato start. But by having a greenhouse, I could extend the growing season. So something I did last year, actually, and here's an example, actually. Last year, I planted a whole bunch of pepper plants, and we planted it out in the front yard. And at the end of the season, actually, we dug up the root balls. We dug up the root balls and stuck them in these large pots. And, you know, I think they're, you know, several gallon pots. And we stuck them in the pots and we put them in the greenhouse. And we, you know, some of them we trimmed back, some of them we didn't. And they lived over the winter in the greenhouse. They didn't like put on any leaves too much, maybe a little bit. They didn't put on any fruit, but they lived. And then when they came back the following season, they're a lot stronger. And actually now they are actually fruiting and actually have ripe fruit. There's a ripe pepper on there that are ready to harvest, whereas ones I planted from starts are not yet ready for harvest. This is the same thing that actually happened with a tomato plant. I dug up my 3 favorite varieties that I grew last year and dug up the root balls. We trimmed them back and put them in the greenhouse, and you can see down there there's some ripe cherry tomatoes on there. So, you know, extending your season. So also you could grow things, you know, in the winter time here in California. You know, while I do have a year-round growing season for some crops, things grow a lot slower in the winter time. So things grow a lot faster when there's more light, like in the summertime, maybe when it's a little bit warmer. When it's cold, things don't grow quite as fast. So in the greenhouse, it'll allow you to grow things, you know, and have them grow at a much faster rate, and just keep them coming. Another reason for having a greenhouse is growing unique foods and tropical foods that you normally couldn't otherwise grow. So you can see here I actually have a banana plant right there, and it actually will grow here in the greenhouse. And if I left it outside like I did in years past, it wouldn't make it. Here's some more katuk. Actually, this is my katuk experiment in the greenhouse. They're not quite as hardy as the ones in the hydroponics, so the goal is actually to transfer these out into the hydroponics. I grow actually this other aloe. Actually, it's called Japanese aloe, and this is a non-bitter aloe. So yeah, you actually could just eat the leaves off that, and it's not going to be bitter like the regular aloe that you would buy at the store. They're actually quite tasty. Other things I'm growing in here are more tropical. So I have some guava that are actually outside for the summertime. But in the back here, one of my favorite plants, it's actually a miracle berry plant. And forget it, I couldn't grow this one, you know, if I didn't have the greenhouse. Other Suriname cherries I have, and just some, oh, this one is actually the leaf ginseng. It's going to seed. You can see all the seeds down there. Couldn't grow that either. So those are the couple reasons for having a greenhouse. Highly recommend buying a greenhouse. You know, if you're serious about food production, and buy the largest one you can. You could get a 10 by 12 at Harbor Freight. Currently the price is about $700, and then if you get on their email list, they do occasionally send out a 20% off coupon, so you could get it, you know, for around $600. 10 by 12 greenhouse. And you want to, if you build it, you want to build it to the specifications, but look, do an internet search on how to upgrade it, because these are basic entry-level greenhouses, but you can make them stronger. For example, my greenhouse, I actually put on a redwood base right there that we seated it onto to make the height a little bit higher and make it a little bit stronger. And we did a little bit of reinforcing. We actually siliconed all the seams and whatnot. But that's about all for this episode. John Kohler with Growing Your Greens. And remember, you can grow your own greens.